I don't know if it's just me, but the numbers and the math ain't mathing right. If the first slaves ever was brought to the Americas in 1619 in a ship, so that means slavery was dated back to 400 years ago. How the fuck is America only 250 years old?
Hi, so if you're new here, I'm Dr. Julius Doyle. I'm a professor of African American Studies. This video came across my feed and I thought it was really interesting, so I figure I'd answer it. The discrepancy that she's noting between the fact that slavery existed for 400 years, but America is only 250 years old, comes from the fact that the colonizers, the people who settled into the Americas after the so-called discovery and displacement of the indigenous people, were originally a colony of the British, and they remained a colony of the British for nearly 200 years, almost as old as this country is, before they then declared independence. All the time that they existed here as a colony of the British monarchy, they were heavily reliant on slave labor. They actually tried enslaving the natives here. If you can imagine coming to a new land and trying to enslave the people that are native to it, it's like trying to enslave people in their own home, in their own backyard. Like, they're gonna know the terrain far better than the colonizers who are here. More importantly, the introduction of new diseases that these natives had never been exposed to also meant that there was a high level of lethality with communicable disease. So the best way that they could go about colonizing these lands, displacing the natives, claiming the land for themselves, was to bring over Africans who then would be heavily reliant on these enslavers for their own survival. By the time you get to 250 years of them having an ongoing relationship with the British Empire and the British monarchy, what essentially happens is the tensions between the British and the French, for example, in Europe, they want those tensions to coexist in parallel over in the Americas, where French colonizers, British colonizers, Spanish colonizers coexist, and these people don't necessarily want to parallel the same wars that are going on, which meant that the British was just gonna bully their colonial counterparts into submission, and at some point they bullied them so hard that these colonizers declared themselves independent of the British Empire. This is where America is born in 1776, which then led to another 100 years of a continuation of slavery before we inevitably get to 1863 and the whole Civil War calamity. Hopefully that answers your question, and if you want to learn more about what I have to provide in the context of race, racism, history, these kinds of things, follow me, join my lecture. I do it every Sunday at 4 p.m. PST.